You know, when it comes to cruising, people put a lot of time and energy. You research the prices, the amenities, the destinations.
But according to a recent government report, you may not be as informed as you should be about safety on these vessels.
ABC 2 News investigator GAO explores concerns over crimes at sea that are not being reported.
A cruise ship surveillance camera captured an all-out brawl between two women in a ship's casino. This video shows one man attacking another, all in plain view of other passengers. Janet Powers says she found herself in a similar situation when she was on a cruise 3 years ago.
A man came and grabbed me by the hair and beat my head against the wall until I became unconscious.
As powerless as she felt in that situation, she felt even more so after immediately reporting the crime to onboard security and then police at the next port of call.
By the time we were through having the police explain to me that they had no jurisdiction, they'd already let this man off the ship.
The FBI is charged with investigating most crimes that happen on the high seas.
We would become involved in any sort of crime of violence, murder, assault, sexual assault. We could also become involved in a theft case.
Special Agent Patrick Dugan and the FBI's Violent Crimes Task Force handle the cases from cruises sailing out of Baltimore.
Fortunately, around here, we don't get called out all that often, just a few times in the course of any calendar year.
But FBI agents can only look into crimes they're called to investigate. That didn't happen in Powers' case.
I mean, if this had happened at a 7-Eleven, this man would have been arrested. But because it happens at sea, there's no crime.
The 2010 Cruise Vessel Security and Safety Act requires cruise lines to report claims of 9 serious crimes, including homicide, sexual assault, and assault with serious injury to both the FBI and the Coast Guard. Maritime attorney Jim Walker says the data doesn't give a complete picture.
The data that's actually being required to be reported is only a small fraction of the overall cruise industry.
The Government Accountability Office's recent report on cruise ship safety echoes these concerns. The report questions whether passengers have access to accurate crime data before booking a cruise.
If we're not collecting the data and analyzing it, we really don't know what we're working with.
Several major cruise lines are now voluntarily making efforts to improve these reports. Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, and Disney post crime numbers quarterly online for passengers to view. But the numbers still don't add up. In 2013, these 4 cruise lines reported a total of 81 crimes nationwide. Data we obtained from the 5 biggest ports out of Florida showed that local police there responded to more than 300 cruise ship crimes in that state alone. The Maryland Transportation Authority police say the department received no reports of cruise ship crimes last year from the Port of Baltimore. Rod Rosenstein, U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland, says there are a number of challenges to investigating and ultimately prosecuting crimes that happen at sea.
You want to evaluate the scene of the crime, and often it's not here. That is, the ship may be out at sea. You also want to talk to the witnesses, and typically they're no longer there either because people get off the ship and they go back home, and you need to track them down and find them. And sometimes even the crew members have changed.
One case out of Baltimore that ultimately led to a guilty plea and jail time was the 2012 arrest of former Royal Caribbean crew member Fabian Palmer. Palmer sexually assaulted a 14-year-old cruise passenger. Rosenstein's office prosecuted the case.
Palmer had befriended the victim and tried to gain the trust of the victim. And that makes it particularly insidious, but it also helped us in terms of the investigation. You know, because it wasn't a single encounter, there were witnesses, there was even evidence, I believe, of a note that he had written to the victim.
For the cruise industry as a whole, Powers hopes moving forward that every serious crime will be given the same consideration, whether it happened on land or at sea, and that potential cruisers know about it.
What if it was your wife? What if it was your sister, your mother, your daughter? This can't go on.
The Cruise Line International Association, the industry's largest trade group, says crime on cruise ships is rare compared to the rate of crimes committed on land. In a statement, a spokesman says the largest cruise companies are already doing more than what is required by law by voluntarily releasing crime reports online. The statement reads in part, "No other hospitality, transportation, or commercial business, to our knowledge, discloses such comprehensive data nor provides this level of transparency." You can see the full statement on our website, abc2news.com. Trang Do, ABC2 News.